Hi everyone. Now let's look at the questions assigned from Markdown. Okay, so the section in the book called 5.4. So we have the exact same formulas as we had for markup, but I've added a couple of extra ones. For example, here D equals the amount of markdown. And if you remember back at the beginning of this chapter, the big D represent discount amount. It's the same thing, okay? Amount of markdown is the same thing as discount amount. They're just using it a little bit different here. And then we also have S reduced, or selling price reduced, is your reduced selling price. And that is S reduced equals S, your selling price, multiplied by 1 minus the rate of markdown. And rate of markdown is your discount amount, or amount of your markdown, divided by selling price. Multiply it by 100% to give you your percentage. Okay? So again, it's the same concept as when we were looking at your net price equals your list price multiplied by 1 minus your discount percentage. That's the same as your reduced selling price equals selling price multiplied by 1 minus rate of markdown. It's just using a little bit of different terminology because it's used in a little bit of a different situation. The list price and the net price is when you're selling up the chain. So the distribution chain from the beginning of the chapter. So if it's the manufacturer selling to the wholesaler, or if it's the distribution selling to the retailer, they use list price and net price. But if it's the retailer, so a clothing boutique has put their winter jackets on sale, that's when you'd look at selling price reduced equals the original selling price multiplied by 1 minus the rate of markdown, or the discount percentage. Okay, so let's look at the problems. Problem 1. We have an item costing $185 was marked up by 50% of cost. Okay, so, and subsequently marked down by $60 during a sale. So we want to know what the regular selling price is. So we know that selling price, we look at it a couple of different ways. So if we've got the expenses plus the profit, then it's cost plus expensive plus profit equals your selling price. But in this case, we only have the amount that it was marked up by. So we've got the selling price equals cost plus markup. Okay, so we want, let's have a look here. We've got selling price equals cost plus markup. We've got the cost $185 plus, and we've got marked up by 50% of cost. So we've got our cost of $185, and we're going to multiply that by 0.5. Okay, so that gives us $185 plus half of 185 is 92.50. So as soon as it goes into points, remember, put it in the form of pennies. So we've got 185 plus 92.5, and that equals, we'll put it in the calculator, 185 plus 92.5 equals 277.50. Equals 277.50. So that is the regular selling price. What is the rate of markdown? Okay, so we've got subsequently marked down by $60 during a sale. So we needed to figure out what the regular selling price was, which we did, and now we need to figure what the rate of markdown. So rate of markdown, if you look up here, rate of markdown equals your discount amount divided by your selling price. So rate of markdown equals your discount amount divided by selling multiplied by your 100%. So we know the discount amount is 60, and we divide it by our selling price, which is $277.50. Multiply that by 100% equals 60 divided by 277.50 equals 0.216 equals 0.216, which equals 21.6%. Okay. So let's try for problem 3. Let's have a little bit more room here. Okay. So rate of markup on cost. So rate of markup on cost, how do we do that? Rate of markup on cost is markup divided by cost times 100%. Okay. Rate of markup on cost equals markup divided by cost multiplied by 100%. Okay, so what have we got? We've got an item was marked up from $24.99. So $24.99 would be the cost to $49.98 before it was marked down. Okay, so it was marked up. The markup equals, okay, so it was marked up from $24.99 to $49.98. So if we do $49.98 minus $24.99, that tells us that the markup was $24.99, okay, because it cost us $24.99. We sold it for $49.98, so the difference between the selling price and the cost is the markup. So we marked it up $24.99 divided by a cost of $24.99. Multiply that by the 100%, and that says $24.99 divided by $24.99 is 1. Multiplied by 100% means that it was actually marked up 100%. Okay, so now rate of markdown. See if we can get it all on the same page here. Rate of markdown, rate of markdown equals, okay, so if we want to go up and look at what our rate of markdown is discount amount divided by selling price. So discount amount divided by selling price multiplied by our 100%. So, okay, so we started with a cost of $24.99, marked it up to $49.98, which is a markup of 100%. Then we marked it down to $24.99 and sold it at cost. Okay, so our markdown, our discount amount is $49.98 minus the $24.99. So you can see there the markdown is $24.99. $24.99 divided by, and we have the selling price, and our selling price was, as you know, $49.98. Multiply that by 100%, and that gives you $24.99 divided by $49.98 multiplied by 100% gives you 50%. All right, let's look at the next problem. So in problem 7, we have Digital Devices plans to stop carrying a certain calculator. It normally marks up the calculator from $71.50 wholesale cost, so there's your C, to the regular selling price, your S, at $99.95. So A, what is the normal rate of markup on selling price? So we've got markup, as you know, is your your selling price minus your cost, gives you your markup. So $99.95 minus $71.50 gives you $28.45. Okay, so your rate of markup on selling is your markup, which is your $28.45, divided by selling, which is your $99.95, multiplied by your 100% gives you 28.5%. Okay, so let's look at B. What is the rate of markdown? What rate of markdown can be advertised if they wish to clear out the stock at the wholesale price? So rate of markdown. Rate of markdown. Let's go up and see what our rate of markdown is. Rate of markdown is your discount amount divided by selling. Okay. It's your discount amount divided by selling multiplied by the 100%. Okay. So the question is, what rate of markdown can be advertised if they wish to clear out the stock at the wholesale price? So if they wish to clear out the stock at the wholesale price, then the amount that they need to reduce it, again, is their current selling price Their current selling price is $99.95. So we know that, or $99.95. And we want to know what the discount amount can be if they want to clear out the stock at the wholesale price. So if they're going to reduce it by $71.50, then again, we know that the discount amount that they're going to give is the same amount as their markup, which would be your $28.45. So again, $28.45 divided by $99.95 multiplied by your 100% gives you 28.5%. Okay, so let's see if we can get problem D in before our time runs out. The workstation uses a markup on cost of 60% to establish its retail price. This pricing rule builds in a profit of 25% of cost. What rate of markdown can Workstation offer and just break even on the reduced price? Okay, so the problem 15 is a little bit of a tricky one. For starters, it's not telling us what the actual cost is. So where do we start? So when you work out a question like this, no matter what your starting number is, your percentage will turn out the same, okay? So for the sake of arguments, I used $1. So let's look at it this way. Okay, so Workstation uses a markup on cost of 60% to establish its retail price. So we've got our selling price equals cost plus markup. So it equals 1 for our cost and 0.6 multiplied by 1 for markup. To expand it out even further, I've got cost plus expenses plus profit. So 1, and then for expenses, we know that our expenses are 35% because our profit is 25%, okay? So the markup is 60%. It's telling us our profit is 25%, so therefore our expenses must be 35%. So I've got $1.60. So then if we do our discount, we want to bring it back down to just breaking even. It's 0.25 divided by 1.6 equals 15.6%.